Hey y'all, what's going on? It's your girl Amaya Desire, and of course I'm with my homies Sherelle and Jamal in the building. Hey y'all.
Hey,
Hey,
hey, hey, hey.
Listen, this is it. We are wrapping it up for the last three episodes of Harlem, and we have watched Harlem like a total of 5 times now. I don't know about y'all, but I think we've we've definitely watched it multiple times.
Yes.
And we are
um,
here to give you the breakdown. So let's jump into it. Episode 8, we do this 5-year job hunt, and not okay, not job hop. What? Let's get that together. We do it. Hold on.
um,
Let's pause.
make sure he breaks that out and you're freezing.
Am I?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it started. So the pause should be at 42.
I'm gonna just start over as.
Yeah. And then tell him to cut it out.
Okay.
Hey y'all, what's going on? It's your girl Amaya Desire, and I'm here, of course, with the homies Sherelle and Jamal. How y'all doing?
Hey, we're good. How are you?
Well.
I am good. I am excited, y'all. We have watched Harlem like multiple times. Not sure about these viewers, but listen, y'all, we have watched it redundantly just to give y'all some good points and some good tea. So let's jump into it, okay? Episode 8 is where we get the 5-year time jump, right? And
It's
I
not
don't
a
even know when.
it's in the past.
Oh, it's the flashback.
Yeah.
Hey,
Sorry.
Okay, well, time. Can we? I guess we can't.
it's
Go
still a jump
backwards.
back. It's a time jump, but to the past.
To the back. We jump to the back. Okay, so
It's a backflip.
the flashback, right? Okay, so here we are. We have this flashback, and I'm not really sure where to start, but your girl Camille. I think this episode I disliked Camille the most, right?
Mhm.
She, of course, you see her in bed with Ian. He cooks. She's off to meet her mom. And then she's making her rounds and she ends up at the professor, right, office, whom is giving her unsolicited advice to tell her that I did the same thing that you were doing now, that I paused my career for a man and look at where it got me. And I'm, too old to enjoy all of what I have. And I thought to myself, like, why would you do that? That's not cool. You don't go and shit on somebody's dream when they're telling you that they're getting ready to do things, and not necessarily that she's doing it for a man, right? And I want to talk to y'all about this real quick. I thought like that was, and I think it's something that people would probably do now still, right? Is that they'll say, "Oh, you're doing this for a woman, or you doing this for a man," but like they're doing it for love. No, yes, like maybe. What are your thoughts about that, Sherelle?
So for me, it has to make sense. So depending on like where I am in my life, where I am in my career, it's like the determining factor of like if I'm going to say yes to such a commitment of like relocating for someone, for someone. And then like what is the future plan? I'm really, really big on at least having some kind of idea of like with what the future holds for us, which way we're going, like, what is the plan? So it really just truly depends. It got to make sense.
I'm not surprised at that answer, Sherelle. Okay, Jamal, what you got?
It was very. I wanted to pop the professor, and then it's like
Absolutely.
all of those opinions. No shade, but I see why 5 years later you no longer have this job because you need to keep it cute or keep it on mute. Like honestly, the way I'm set up, you can tell me about something. And that's fine that was your experience with it, but let me figure out mine. But I think that we see how impressionable Camille is, and she doesn't pretty much have her hit. Let me stop before I say that. I think that this might have been something Sherelle. I said Sherelle, my bad. Camille.
I didn't do it.
Camille, because Sherelle be feeling me where I'm going. I think she knows where I'm about to go. I think that this is something Camille always had in the back of her mind, but for someone else to say it out loud, it makes it real. And that's what causes her to go down the rabbit hole of, am I making the right decision? Am I not? Should I do it? Should I not?
Absolutely.
But the professor did. I will say one thing in the professor's defense. She did make a good point about her not being able to be as hands-on with her TA requirements in order to get that professor position that she was looking to get while still completing her dissertation. So,
right. She had valid points, but I do think that, when your advice is unsolicited, especially if you know Camille enough, you understand that type of advice is detrimental. It's not helpful for her, right? And spinning into that, let's talk about her mom, right? So her mom basically stands her up and then says, "Have fun on your vacation." So you're getting double whammy. You got whammy by the professor saying, "Girl, don't do it." And then your mom is saying, "We'll see you when you get back from vacation." So I think this is kind of like digging at Camille's insecurities, and the things that are triggering her, which I would assume this is just a me being taking a leap right here. But I'm going to assume that maybe she has abandonment issues, right? So now to have this conversation with the professor and then your mom is standing you up, like, my gosh, like, how is one supposed to feel? Exactly. She's having all these things like trigger her. So let's get into the next thing that's a trigger, the passport, right? So now this man, first of all, I've never heard of this rule before. I'm gonna have to look it up just in case. But the passport situation, he cannot leave the country with a passport that's getting ready to expire. And now they have to pause. They've already missed their flight, and Camille ends up paying, and this is where you see her start having the meltdown. Now, was that something that was worthy of how, Camille was starting to spiral? Jamal, what are your thoughts on that?
I think I don't think it was, I don't think that was the place, and I don't think that I don't think it was okay for her to had that meltdown and that blow up on him, because it was a simple mistake. None of us knew it. I mean, this show has taught me so much. I didn't know your Uber account could get locked, and I didn't know about this passport situation. So thank you, Tracy Oliver. But it was gaslighting started by the professor. Then it was ignited by the situation with her mom, and then she's going through all these things, and she's like, why am I the one that has to always make things work? She's pretty much asking, why am I always the Captain Save-A-Ho? But it's not so much as he asked her to come through and help him out. She volunteered. And so she did not have to do that, but she chose to. And she's like, I always got to be the one. She projected that same energy the professor projected onto her about her leaving is the same energy she put on always having to be the one to fix and repair everything onto Ian when they're trying to go to Paris. And it wasn't fair to Ian either, because it was a simple mistake anyone could have made.
Right. How do you feel about his response to her, Shiro?
I don't even remember how he responded.
So, well, he basically was just saying, like, chill out, like, it's an honest mistake, and you didn't know either, basically. So, I mean, in that regard, like, again, like I said, I didn't know that was a rule, and I don't think either. If you both don't know, I don't know why it's such a huge deal.
Yeah, I definitely think that she overreacted. But the situation was stressful. I mean, if we're actually thinking about it, we're supposed to be getting on a flight to leave somewhere, but we are standing at the gate and this person's telling us we can't leave. So it's a stressful situation, but I also think that, you have to be mindful of like where you are in the setting of the situation. And for me, I kind of was like, okay, well, maybe she feels like he's irresponsible because he didn't have like the money, but not knowing why he didn't have the money. But at the same time, you don't have the money either. So it's just like
any card.
If it works, it works. In that, I'm just like, you're just irresponsible as he is, if that's what you want to call it, Right. But I definitely think that she could have handled the situation better. It was a very stressful situation because I would have been stressed. I'm also the type of person where I work well under stress, so I would have probably responded like Ian, like, hey, calm down. We'll figure it out. We'll get this fixed. And it could have just been like an aha moment for her where it's just like, can this man take care of me? Because, as a man, you want to be able to provide for your partner. And we're leaving country to go chase your dreams. What does that look like? You know what I mean? So I can understand like her being afraid and her being scared, and then the situation like with the passports, she did overreact and her behavior wasn't the best, but I understand.
Mm-hmm. So moving on, we see her, the behavior. This is at this point, it's a snowball effect, right? She goes on a walk. They come back. Ian says the cat will be here in 2 minutes. She decides she's not going. Gives him the spill about I'm uprooting my life for you, leaving my job, my friends, my block, and decides, well, like, listen, I'm not going, and also like breaks up with him. This is like I said, this is my episode where I dislike her the most, because everything to me of what she did was rooted in fear. Like, his response to me was very valid. Like, so the months we took planning this means nothing to you. And as I'm watching it with a friend, you know what he says? He goes, she don't love him. She doesn't trust him. She doesn't believe in him. And he's a guy. So it was interesting to hear that point of view. But, like, I was really upset because I felt like you came all this way. Friends you can Skype, friends you can make, and I get having friends that you absolutely love, of course, your job, of course, but jobs change all the time. So for me it was like, you're willing, how can you say you love somebody and then decide that the fear is too much? And I understand fear, I think we all do, but I was a little disappointed in how that played out. Same. And I don't even know what I really, wanted to expect, but it was heartbreaking. What did you say, Sherelle?
I said for me, it was just the fact that she didn't even try. She didn't even say, okay, I'm not going to come with you, but I still want this to work. And let's see how it goes. She didn't even give it a shot at all. She was just like, you go to Paris, I'm going to stay here. And we just kind of like go our separate ways. And I would have at least tried to say that I tried, instead of just going away so easy like that.
Yeah. What about you, Jamal?
For me, after hearing you both say that, I don't think that she didn't love him.
I thought she loved him.
I thought she loved him. Yeah. I think that professor really messed with her head and all those projections. See, the thing is, none of those thoughts were there the morning of. None of those thoughts lived the morning of. They didn't. They just showed up and took ownership and moved into her head after that discussion with her professor. Because even if she would have had the meeting with her professor would have kept it cute, zip, and she went to go try to meet her mom, and her mom still didn't show. She knew it was a strange situation between her mom, and that was okay. And then it would not have propelled all that negative energy to ensue to follow them later in this journey to getting to Paris from Harlem. And as he said, you had 6 months to think of all of this, and you're waiting until we have 6 hours to say something now. Like, come on. Like, that's the thing. That's why I agree with you with disliking her that the most this episode. I found her to be very neurotic as a person, because I don't think Camille is capable of making a solid decision without looking for validation from others around her to let her know that it is okay.
Right, which is, again, like I said, I think we've all been there at some point, but I feel like I don't know if I want to call it anxiety, but it's like it's crippling to her in a degree, right? Like the overcompensation of people pleasing, so to speak, having to be perfect. So she got a few things that she needs to work on, but I think, this all came to a head, of course, when we see Ian get in the car, and, the plan has changed, right? Camille hates that plans change, which is weird as hell, because we're adults and we all know plans change, and it's nothing you can do about it. But we see him get in the car, teary-eyed, and he opens up the box with the ring in it. And I'm thinking to myself, damn, like I don't, and that's a heartbreak. Like I can't imagine being a man in love with a woman, totally head over heels, can't wait to start this new chapter in our life together, and you got a ring and she breaks up with you.
Right.
That's a different type of heartbreak. So I'm interested, to see what other people think, about this entire, like, for them, for Camille in particular, that their space in this episode. Like I'm interested, to see especially what men think, because they have the hardest time healing after heartbreak. And so something like that.
Say it again. Say it again. Say it again.
Something like that is gonna be insane. And of course, wrapping up with Camille, her and Quinn end up at the hotel, right, where the wedding is supposed to take place, and she's there. She has this little, moment where she's dreaming of him and her, and then they run into each other.
No.
We jumping.
No?
We gotta bring it back. Not yet.
That's at the end. We gotta go. Gotcha. We gotta stick with this episode. So we gotta talk about
16-15.
16-15. I'm trying to figure out how to pause that. Okay. So let's just jump in. So, like I said, Camille is, like you said, Jamal, a little neurotic, and it's very interesting to see what her 5-year flashback was. Child, I'm gonna throw this at you, Jamal, because it's your favorite person to talk about. So go ahead, talk about Angie, her loud ass, because she been loud since we met her, and then 5 years ago she was loud again.
Still loud.
Very interesting to see her, talking about putting her song on the radio and then showing up, and this man is telling her she's not hot shit. So what did you think about that overall flashback for Angie? Like, what stood out to you the most?
What stood out to me the most was she was someone I did not like. This flashback, I was like, who's this bitch? Excuse my language. But, like, how dare you have this type of ego walking around and you don't even have a song on the radio? Like, I don't understand if you got a single, but you have nothing on the radio. And it's like she has this persona that's just so it just was not my cup of tea. But I to see her be so self-centered, like when they all meet up for lunch, and it's her, Quinn, and Ty, and Ty is talking about how she's so miserable at her job, and about Melissa giving her the key. Well, jumping. Both of them are having woes about their jobs, Quinn and Ty, and they're talking about the possibility of saying goodbye to Camille once again. And they was like, we've already done that. And Angie is over it. She was like, I'm done talking about her. Let's talk about me. Like, she was very self-centered, very selfish. And then to see that humbling moment begin, where she goes up to the record label, and he was like, record label, to speak with them, the head of the label, and the head of her division. Let me say that. And he's like, he's like, pretty much, we're going in a different direction. And he was like, there is going to be no single. There is not going to be this. No one wants to hear your song because no one likes your song. And no one likes anything that you have recorded. And we're not going to waste any money on you. So you got to go. And she was like, I think seeing Angie then, to me, explain why she is the way she is now. Because, no one said anything about what they did or did not like back then. So let me just say whatever is there and see what their reaction is going to be. And then it also shows about why she's so how can I put this? She's determined to make it because of how she was pretty much kicked out of her dream. Because she was living the life she wanted, living in the brownstone, having car service, having all the things, and then in an instant taken away from you. And it's just like, it's like she wants to get back to that life, but with a different perspective and a different mindset, in a way of actually honing it and being respectful of it, where she might not have been. So I really did not like her this episode, and she's my favorite, but I did not like her this episode.
So we 2-2, right? Well, we're 2 for 2 right now. We didn't like Camille nor Angie. Interesting. And I'm gonna let Sherelle answer this, but I personally think that Angie is where she is because of her attitude.
Yeah,
she lacked gratitude, she lacked respect, she lacked tact. And I think that is part of the reason why she is what she is, because I don't know if Angie is any less selfish than she was 5 years ago. And I'm going to throw it over to Sherelle.
I don't think she learned anything at all. From what I can tell, I think that she did have a song that was on the radio because she already had been offered a deal. I think that song didn't do well, and they decided that they didn't want to move forward with her because that song didn't do well. And most record labels, if you don't have a contract signed, they will, decide to go a different way. But her attitude and like the way she talks to people, and just like even like with the whole like homeless man scene, it's just not giving. And I think that that's part of why we see like her downfall, and we can still see her downfall even 5 years later because she hasn't learned anything.
I just think that so I believe it was that she wanted Flo Into You to be the single. Nobody liked it, but they were going to do it. But then they went through the merger and they pulled it, right? But she could have had a song on the air if she had taken the A&R's advice about the song she didn't like, but that everybody else liked, which is not actually far-fetched from what happens to a lot of artists. It's just they make a song, they don't necessarily like it, but that's what we do. Happens. So so I'm not, I guess I'm not a fan. Let's see if we're a fan of this person, and I'm gonna give this to Sherelle. So we see Quinn, finance manager, and her mama in this horrible Jamaican accent. We see her at the office with her finance boyfriend at her desk job, and then she's just like, would you like me if I still if I wasn't doing this, right? Would I still be your girlfriend? So what do we think about Quinn's, like, her backstory in the 5-year flashback?
Her background is actually very similar to a lot of people who decided they want to go into entrepreneurship. I actually support this lady. She's a chef now, and she quit her 9-to-5 good government job to become a chef, or have her own her home business or whatever.
Right.
But you can see Quinn looking for validation to make this move. And we can tell that her mom's not happy about it, because her mom's like, well, you have a career, you have your own money. What are you going to do if this doesn't work? And those are normal questions. And you want to support your children in whatever they decide to do. But we can see all over mama's face that this is like, no. But I think Quinn did the right thing, because she said, I have my money saved up and I really want to do this. And if you're not happy with something and you have a vision for your life, I think that you should follow your dreams. And I wouldn't ask the man if he would still want me if I wasn't doing this, because who cares? Like,
right.
You shouldn't want me for my career. You should want me for the person that I am, and not because of like what I do. So he was just silly. She's silly for asking him, because I wouldn't ask him a damn thing. But
Take it or leave it, Buster. That's what
Take
she
it or
said.
leave it, and you're going to either support me or you aren't. And clearly, we see 5 years later that something changed.
Something, well, a lot changed because she said a child's daycare, and Quinn is not running no goddamn daycare or her gym, the child's gym.
The child's gym.
And it ain't popping. You know, there is no Planet Fitness kids, so you know nothing works. But but she's successful now. You know, she's making it. I thought it was interesting because I felt like I could resonate with Quinn just in the whole thing of having to have that specific lifestyle, right? Like you get the fancy job, you get the really good boyfriend. You know, I'm gonna hope that this boyfriend turns into a husband and this, and this. And then you're sitting there, and like she said, she's like, I'm miserable and I'm not happy. And I feel like sometimes so many of us have it, you know, been in situations where our parents wanted, you know, you just want you to be stable versus happy, and we are the total opposite generation of we need to be happy and that's stable. So yes, very no, we gotta do both simultaneously, you know what I mean? You gotta have your balance.
Gotta be balanced.
So okay, so we like Quinn. Jamal, do you like Quinn or not? You took too long.
I like her. I had to remember. I do like her.
I gotta remember.
She stood up for herself and she stood her ground. Mm-hmm. She had a maybe moment where I was like, maybe I don't know if she, like, when it came to the boyfriend, like, why are you asking this man what he, like you said, if he would still be turned on by her if she wasn't doing whatever. But I think it is gutsy to go out on your own and just leave what you know to just do something, to try. Because that's pretty much what she was doing. She was trying to take a different life for herself. And as we see 5 years later, the child's gym, the spa, the juice bar, none of that is what she's doing.
Right.
And it's a cautionary tale that her mother tells her, because she's like, you do this and we won't have what we have now, and I will be there to help you with financially, but that's all the relationship we will have. And you know, I'll still love you even when you apologize for thinking you're not going to need me, but you are, and you will. And she told her then, and she's showing her now. So poor Quinn,
I agree.
It is what it is.
Yeah, harsh reality.
I agree. All right, so let's hit Ty and her messy ass, because that's exactly what it is. She's messy.
That wig.
Child, burn it, light it up and burn it. We see her having this girlfriend, and you know, first of all, let's talk about Red Alert real quick, because what now? Goddamn Red Alert telling people when you having your period. They play too much. Anyway, so he meets with the girlfriend. The girlfriend gives her a key to the apartment, and we're trying to figure out like, okay, like let's do this for a little while. And she has this conversation where, you know, she tries, well, I guess all the girls decide they're going to do whatever they are the most afraid of. And for Ty, it's calling Brandon, right? She calls, she hangs up. She decided she's going to keep it real with the girlfriend and tells her, like, I'm married. And the girlfriend goes off, like, this is fucked up. Like, why wouldn't you tell me? You know, like, how do I know you're not going to do the same thing to me? Very good question. So what has Ty changed from 5 years ago to where she is now? What stood out to you all, you know, real quickly about her flashback, Jamal?
What jumped out to me was her past love, and that breakup may be the result of her commitment issues. and why she has to be the one that's in control of when you come, when you go, how long you're there for. Because when she was given the opportunity to, be a part of someone else's world, they took they snatched the rug from underneath her and, left her to fend for herself. It also speaks to the reason why she's so domineering with her points of view, because she sat in a room full of men where she was not seen or heard. So I think if anybody had the most progression within this, I think that she did, because we saw her go from timid and meek to aggressive and here.
I will take that.
So that's
I think that I definitely think that whatever situation took place with the girlfriend in the past is a big part of like how she is now, but she's still holding on to this secret 5 years later. And I think the biggest thing is that she needs to release this secret. Like, she needs to get rid of like this baggage that she has. And I think that that's probably, she definitely needs to be more forthcoming with this information when she gets serious. And this could also be why she isn't serious with people, because she has this whole husband that is, and she's a lesbian. So it's like, how can I explain to a person that I'm going to share my life with that I have a husband that I haven't talked to and I'm still married? So it's just like a lot of things that she has to take care of, because she has like a lot of baggage that she's going to be going into relationships with. So I think that that's a big thing of like why she's not really in a relationship.
So I agree with you, Sherelle, but let's move into episode 9. So this disaster with Ian and Camille and his boss, right? Because they are kidnapped. Okay, first of all, what's with people getting into the wrong Uber? Do you not check the license plates? I'm confused. What's happening? This is not the first time they did this. Okay. But they get kidnapped, right? Or I'm up ahead, but Camille has decided that she's going to help Ian with the restaurant getting art. She's lied to Jameson about it, right? And now she's here and she's rushing through the art gallery trying to get back to him. Then they get kidnapped, and because they're under duress, Ian says, I still love you, I never stop. I feel like they are playing a very dangerous game of not even cat and mouse, but it's just fire, I'm not really sure how I feel about any of it. I really feel like y'all too grown for this, and if y'all want to be together, just be together. But all this ring around the rosies make me nauseous and sick. But that's neither here nor there. So what do we think about the lying part with Jameson, and just her overall scene at the art gallery, period? Jamal, what do you think?
So from the jump, I was just like, how does he not see she's focused on something else? Because she ain't focused on art. Because he was like, it's too, first of all, it was teacups. I mean, teacups. Like, it's teacups. How does teacups represent Harlem? Neither here nor there. But her rushing through the whole thing, and then, we know he always has that light for her. We've seen it all season. And then even in the car, when they getting kidnapped, he was like, before they find out they're getting kidnapped, he's like, you lucky I'm with my girl. And then he's like, I didn't mean to say it like that, boo. I didn't mean it.
Right.
Like, you still are walking in this title of her man, but you're not. Right. And then later you tell her, I'm just going to speak as if I'm Camille. You tell me that you still in love with me, and you still love me and you never stop. My thing is, and I said it since we've been talking about this man, he's the right guy thinking he's the wrong guy thinking he's the right guy.
Yeah.
He has all the great intentions, but the wrong time. Because at the end of the day, regardless if Camille was to entertain his advances or not, he is the one in the situation that he has to go home and deal with if shit go wrong. He's the one about to get married. not her. So he's sparking that shit. He's lighting it, and Camille just getting burnt up with him. And I think he's just wrong for that. He's the passive aggressiveness just pisses me off.
I agree, Sherelle.
I hate the nice guy that ain't the nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like, number one, you did not have to lie to that man, Jameson, and make up all this stuff about what you're doing. All you had to say is, I'm looking for art for a restaurant. You didn't have to say who you was with, but the fact that she just like lying to this man, he don't deserve that. And I just feel like she's about to just like fuck this relationship all up.
Oh, yes, she is.
And it's like,
absolutely.
You don't even need to. And even like with the conversations of them, like with him, going to Chicago potentially, like you're already looking for it to end. And instead of
looking for a way out,
it's just a whole hot mess. And then with them being abducted, it's just like making it worse because they're like B said, you have this situation where we are in a stressful situation, and then like I guess you think about to die. So the last thing you want to be able to tell me is that you still love me. And I just feel like you getting married, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Like, move on with your life. And if you feel as though you do want to try and be with me, then you need to end your engagement so that we can have a fresh start. Because the way that this is starting is unhealthy.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Listen,
I couldn't be either one of them
at all.
Triggered is all I'm gonna say. I dislike people who cannot be consistent, who don't know what they want, and who play with other people's feelings. And they both are doing all three of those things. Let's talk about this trashy ass play that Angie is in. And would you all, and this is for the viewers at home too, would you all lie to spare your friends' feelings if they were in a really shitty play?
I wouldn't lie, but I would be very mindful and choose my words wisely on expressing my dislike for what it is that they are a part of. Because at the end of the day, that's your friend. You know how your friend is. Mm-hmm. So it's like, they're like, bitch, what you really thought that was gonna work? No. I had to one time. We'll go to that later, but I had to one time. But no, that wasn't it.
Mm-hmm. I can already see my response is like, you were great. You did good.
Everything around you, though.
I wouldn't even go. That's all I'm saying. You did good. Yeah.
Yes. This is true.
Like Camille, y'all did what y'all had to do.
This is.
But if you don't directly ask me, like, how was it? Most of the time, most people be like, how did I do? You did great. You did amazing.
That's true. You're right about that.
There was music.
It
was up.
I will even try to find something else within the play that I did like. But I'm not about to sit here and tell you that play was bad. I'm gonna let somebody else do that. You gonna read
somebody's gonna do it. There's gonna be somebody in the paper.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly.
You gonna read it in the newspaper.
Okay, all right. So let's go on about Quinn and her fake ass babysitting JJ and spying on Isabella. What's your girl doing? Is she having a moment? And
she having a babysitting moment.
Okay, now
that, but not really though, because she knew Isabella before. She went to go. Yeah, you're right.
You popped up where I was at, and here we are.
You're right.
This is true.
I want to go bowling.
Listen, I was about to say, don't talk about these badass kids.
Listen, but he went. He ain't had no choice, and he had fun. So
he had fun
because he got to have his way.
All that damn soda.
Listen, gonna be bouncing on the walls, off the walls when Sean get there to pick him up. He ain't going to sleep. He ain't going not near sleep. And of course, she has this moment where she wins first of all, don't nobody win them toys out that goddamn cage, okay? But she wins the plush toy. Her and Isabella have this moment, and they finna kiss, but then they don't kiss because they're like, ugh, what y'all doing over here? Like, is that toy for me? So, I think it's interesting. What do we think about her having this moment with Isabella? Like, are we for Sean and Quinn or Isabella and Quinn?
I mean, my girl got a girlfriend. I mean, if they like it, I love it. That's they grin the bed. But I've been seeing Isabella throw Quinn the look and shoot her shot all season. So but even Quinn, the thing we don't mention is, I don't think anybody paid attention to was Quinn even was like, oh, well, it's her loss that she stood you up,
Yes, she did.
And, I'm just like, and the look she had on her face when she said, I was like, Quinn wants some seafood salad.
Mm-hmm. Not seafood salad.
She do. She wants the fish of the day. And then when it's presented to her, when they're about to kiss, that's when she gets snapped back into reality. Like, oh, so,
Agreed.
Happens.
Agreed.
Have you ladies ever been in that situation?
I'm gonna go with no.
Maybe.
You never had one girl that was like, he was like, hey girl, what's up?
Be mind your business.
Ooh, no, you didn't.
But it's funny because I didn't see Quinn interested in Isabella until she got to the bowling alley. But then I guess you had to have been quite curious for you to even be like, I'm gonna go to the bowling alley and see what she's doing. Or hey, that's a great idea. And then I was like run into Isabella.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't get the vibe from Quinn until they were at the bowling alley. And it's definitely some sparks and some attraction.
It's a vibe.
And you know what I think too, though? And I could be reading too deeply into this. Quinn might like Isabella because her mom's accepting of Isabella.
Damn.
And it's like,
got that.
What about if my mom is so into you, trying to figure out what it is about this person, and then she is likable, so then it's like, I like you too.
And not for nothing, Isabella's fine.
She's beautiful, and I wasn't even getting gay vibes from her until the dressing room scene.
Yeah.
It was a little more masculine-ish to me, but then I was just like, okay, well, maybe, am I reading too much into this? But then I was like, okay, yeah, no, she's really a lesbian, and then she confirmed it. Yeah. But I think Quinn could really be into her too because of her mom.
I agree.
Yeah,
I definitely agree with that. That's actually a very good point. I'm interested to see where that goes for season 2, but let's keep going. So your girl Ty, and is this where we had that little encounter with Brandon?
Mm-hmm.
We find out he's still there.
He is more and making himself comfy in her house. Now let's talk about this real quick because I'm curious as to what you all think about him. Just her putting him in his house, her putting him up in her house. Would that be something that you would do for somebody you haven't seen in 10 years?
No.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I don't do that for people I see every day.
I was in the company, so I know I wasn't gonna offer my space.
This is about that.
I think he was trying to be nice too because he did kind of
Save her life.
So, and then like he might only be here for a few days, so then he'll just go about his business. But he's there. He has intentions.
But he's been there for weeks. And this is 3 weeks later.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to figure out what his intentions are. I mean,
well, I feel like if his intentions were about money, he would have said that in the beginning. Most people don't hide that they're.
I hope he don't want to get back with her.
No, but see, that's where. But see,
he's saying like she abandoned him. He's upset with her. He feels abandoned. He's expressed this to her, like you just left.
Which is the good thing to roll it into, how it ends between them and 10. Because
so let's do that, because we're pretty much there. So with 10, they do have. First of all, I feel like that conversation didn't go the way I think that most lawyers will tell you. They're not going to tell you to go in there guns blazing, and I feel like she was stupid for doing that. You have a conversation and you just say, "Hey, I know it's been 10 years. What exactly is it why are you sticking around? What are you here for?" But she went in there accusing that man, and $35,000 off $1 million company, honey. You just made that shit worse. If it was a small garbage fire, that's a whole building now, because you telling me that I'm only worth $35,000 and you making it bigger than it has to be. So I was thoroughly disappointed in how she handled that situation. Thought it was not. It was kind of Ty-like, but not Ty-like at the same time. Yeah. And she should fire her lawyer, because I don't know what kind of advice her lawyer gave her, because that ain't it. But I think it was, like I said, it just wasn't smart how she handled the whole situation. Could have been handled much, much better. So is he wrong for reacting the way that he reacted?
Absolutely not. Because, and I'll say this, her lawyer gave her the heads up of what may come, but Ty's so much of a hothead that she went in there off her own. You know what I'm saying? She was just like, you need to offer him first. But he told her he's hurt, because and the question's been posed many, many times before. What's more painful, a breakup with a lover or a breakup with a friend? And I think we all can say a friendship breakup is what hurts the most out of any lover you've had. And that's why he's been there for so long. That's why he hasn't signed the divorce papers, because he still wants a piece of her. He still wants to be a part of her life. And with him saying that means that to me, it sounded like he didn't hold anything against her. He didn't have no grudges. He didn't have no ill will. He wasn't looking for anything. All he wanted was his friend back, honestly. And he was pretty much, I think he was just pretty much waiting it out to see his friend come back. But she never shows up. And he was like, you know what? Since you're going to make this about money, let me run that money up. And I'll make it about money, and watch how I do this. And I tell women all the time, there's a lot of things you can take from a man, but once you take that man pride, that's it. And that's what she did when she went in accusing him of wanting to be after her money, when all he wanted was to be a part of her life.
Friendship.
Absolutely. Yeah. He definitely wanted friendship. And he did feel abandoned by her, and she kind of just put her foot in her mouth with that one. So,
but
good luck.
Yeah. So,
and he moved out and she was looking for him.
Listen, so episode 10, I think was intense. It was well done, if I can say. But I definitely think they gave us so much to think about. And of course, we see Quinn and Camille having drinks out, and they're having their night out after, I think Ty, so Ty and Angie are gone or whatever, and they're drinking, and they decide they're going to run the streets and make some irrational drunken decisions, and
which are never good.
Never.
Honey, she quit her job on the fly. What?
She definitely quit her job.
She definitely quit her job on the fly.
She could have gave a 2 week.
She could have gave a 2 week, because that's going to follow you around, because now when you go back to get a reference, what you finna say? Because you're going to use the doctor that's on on trial for misgendering and mispronoting and all sorts of other stuff. That ain't a good look. But yeah, these are Camille's big things. She quits her job, and then she and Quinn go to Isabella's job, right? So that Quinn can ask her out on a date. Now, did you see that coming? Because I don't know if I saw that coming. I thought she was going to apologize, but I didn't think she was going to ask her on a date. What do you think, Sherelle?
I didn't think that it was going to be a date either, but
Jamal said he did.
But I'm not surprised because you know she had a conversation with Angie. Not Angie, with Ty.
Okra.
And
we did.
She was looking for like that. Ty is actually the perfect person that she should have went to. I mean, but I was not expecting her to go ask her on a date. I did think that she was going to go apologize, but I mean, hey, Isabella said, "Yeah, girl, we going on a date."
Isabella said yes.
But I think for her and Sean, like that's just crazy.
Threesome in the future of season 2. It's like, I'm joking. I know. Jamal, what you got?
I actually saw her going up there and actually kissing Isabella, but I'm glad she didn't because she still got to reserve the class. Also, the people that work on the campaign know her mom, so she's like, I can't be out here being a full lesbian just yet. Maybe let me chill.
Yeah.
Let me see how much I like it. But I did see her coming toward. I did see her, popping up and giving Isabella all of her thoughts on what she feels about her. It's one of those things, you do it, you don't, or you live with regret. So I think that was the one thing that she was doing. Now, how that's going to affect her and Sean, I'm really, really because it's a double-edged sword, because you finally got a man that you've been waiting for to treat you like the woman you feel you deserve to be treated like, but he doesn't live up to employment standards or your standards, period, because he got a kid. But now you in this relationship, you love him, but you like this girl. So you want to surf and turf? I don't know.
Surf and turf. Okay, I like that term, Jamal. So of course, coming out of the job, Quinn gets a text, right? She's supposed to drop off Mira's dress and she done forgot. So they pull up, she gets out, and she decides she finna drop the dress off. And Camille has a moment, she decides she finna go in here and look around. But of course, she wasn't just coming. So we knew she wasn't going to look around. But, she has this moment. She sees what her life could have been if she would have married Ian. Then she runs into Ian. Did we expect what happened to happen? Like, Sherelle, was that on the radar for you that they were going to run into each other and kiss and all this other stuff?
No, because I wanted her to sit her ass in that damn car, stay outside.
Sherelle said, I'm over it.
She had no business going into that hotel and snooping around. She had no business doing that. And I just feel like it was even worse because you used this opportunity to share your feelings with this man. And he was like, but I'm getting married. And I just feel like it's just like a whole can of worms.
It is. But again, like I said, he is not any better. And I'm going to just leave it there and go over to Jamal. What's your thoughts?
Yeah.
I saw it coming. I saw something coming. I saw it could be one of two ways. It was either going to be him curving her and just be like, I love you, but I'm getting married tomorrow. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. I saw it being like a Dwayne Wayne Whitley situation. Like, real talk. The next day, like, if she leave him, if he turn his back on her tonight, she gonna pop up tomorrow. Baby, please. Like, but this is the only part where I really do. I'm not gonna say I admire Ian, but I respect him for at least being honest with Camille when she puts him on the spot, because he's only been honest with Camille when he's been in difficult or circus. They come see my sister be hitting me. Are situations where he feels obligated to because of the moment, but this is where he's like, fuck it, all right, I'm gonna tell you, yeah, I still love you. This was but this is also where we find out that I maxed my credit cards out before I left for Paris because I wanted to marry you 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And this is supposed to be you. This was always that. First of all, I'm using that later. This was always supposed to be you. Let me tell you something. When he said that, and I think he had that moment where he really said fuck it, because you see when like he says this after he says this was always supposed to be you, it's like she's about to walk away and then he reaches to grab her and pull him in like, nah, shawty, let me show you. Like that's the part when I yelled at my TV and might have woke up my neighbor's newborn. Sorry, y'all. But I was just like, damn. I just think I've been there. I've been that guy. So it hit a little different where it's like you see it. You see the image of what your life could be. And then you see your reality and you face with what you're going to deal with. So I'm so intrigued to see what's going to happen season 2. And poor Mira, because she's just so sweet. She's so sweet and she nice and she cool and she's secure. But now she got her heart broke because she looking over the window. I mean, over the rail and see her man kissing somebody else.
So what would you do in that situation?
Huh?
What would you do in that moment?
Who am I?
Mira.
I'm Mira. I would have do the dress over the railing because I would have knocked them in the faces. Then I would have stomped down. I would have had a moment, and then I would have probably just left. But I would have did something. I wasn't just going to stand there and look. Although I know maybe it's a shock factor, but no. But here's a plot twist. I'm gonna give this question to Jamal. What if they decide to still go through with the wedding in season 2?
I hope so.
Oh,
Sherelle spicy. She said, "Fuck Camille."
I'm not saying that. I just don't like stuff like that.
Oh, I don't know, because then you get a whole Mary Jane, Olivia and all of that situation. And you know what? I'm gonna
Mary to believe like in my second best. And
exactly. Like I'm always, because yes, I'm number 2. But can I just answer your question about what would I do? I'm gonna turn that motherfucker, excuse my language, I'm censored. I'm gonna turn that joint into a MacGyver moment, and I'm gonna make a damn rope out of that dress and that veil, and I'm gonna swing from mine down to them steps, and I'm knocking everybody out. Anyone can get it, okay? Anyone can get it. But if it was a wedding they were to go forward with, I'm always left insecure in my marriage if I'm married.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm your fallback. I was never your first choice because that was her. And now it got me wondering, is this her ring?
Oh shit.
Am I getting her leftovers? Was this your plan with her? Or is this what you decided now that you got me?
Yeah. Damn.
Those are I feel like you capped it right there, so I'm gonna just leave it. But
no more scenarios.
Right. I'm gonna cap it right there. Y'all heard what Jamal said. Leave your comments down there and let us know your thoughts. And my last question is gonna be, out of 5-star rating, what would you give Harlem? Sherelle?
I think a good solid 4.5.
Okay, Jamal.
I'm giving it a full point. I'm gonna be with Sherelle. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 only because I want more authenticity. Like I want to see more of actual Harlem other than what Hollywood has made it.
True.
Gotcha. And because of that, I gave it a 4. because I'm from New York and I've ran off and through Harlem, and I need more authenticity as well.
The Jimbo, the bodega.
Is the fact that we only saw Red Lobster kind of makes me crazy. And then this little bougie little bar that Ty had her whole scene in with the lady. Yeah. Kind of makes me crazy. Y'all haven't found no other restaurants other than Red Lobster.
Listen, we're not even going to go into that because that's a whole different story. We already know what's happening in New York and in other places. So on that note, guys, let us know your thoughts and your feelings about Harlem. Are you ready for season 2? How do you feel about the cliffhanger with Ian and Camille, with Ty and Brandon, with Isabella, Quinn, and Sean, with Angie and who? Eric. Is she pregnant? Okay.
So, or did you have STD?
Listen,
we're not going to claim that. We're not going to claim that.
But you said they wasn't using condoms. They was flipping.
This is true, but we're going to leave that for season 2. So we'll see y'all next time, guys, on Big Go Belt Media. Bye.
Bye.